summary of the fourth session of our free PMP training. Session 4 took place on Monday, 10th of February at 7 p.m. GMT +1. So as usual, we will first show you in one slide the summary of the session. So the session went for about 3 hours. We've shared around 97 slides. We've had 36 in-chapter questions plus the 10 questions of the Chapter 3 test questions at the end. We've covered section 3.4, which is the team collaboration, section 3.5, which is the motivation theory, and section 3.6, which is communication and conflict management. Then we started chapter 4, and we said that chapter 4 is probably the most important chapter since it covers more than half of the questions in the PMP exam, which is adaptive project management. We covered section 4.1, the development approaches, and section 4.2, the agile approaches. Okay, so we will give you a summary of the entire session, and we will go through the top 10 slides which we have picked for you. Okay, so we started section 3.4, the team collaboration, and the first thing we started with was the Tuckman ladder, the importance of this ladder to understand, as a project leader, as a project manager, the different phases your project team will go through. We said that first, when you acquire your team, when you form your team, the team is working in silos. No one knows no one, so people start getting introduced to each other, knowing each other, and then the team will move into the storming phase, where people try to impose their ways of working on the others. They disagree, on how to execute the work. You, as a project manager, as a project leader, you should expect this. You should expect that this will happen, and you need to help your team move quickly to the norming stage, where we agree on ground rules, on the team charter. And the team, they start knowing each other better through different activities such as team building activities. So then the team's performance can go higher again, in the performing stage. Okay, and once all the work is completed and done, then the team can be disbanded through the adjourning stage. Okay, and in the storming stage, in the storming stage, while moving to the norming stage, so we can set the ground rules, so everyone knows which rules to adhere to and to respect in order to have an effective team and a very performing team. Okay, and all of these rules can be recorded also in the team charter, which is a document where we list the team members, their roles in the project, the common goals of the team members, the core values of the team, how to make decisions, among the team members. At least, we list here 3 to 4 techniques how to take decisions, and the social contract, which contains the basic rules, like the ground rules, so the teams can adhere to. And the best is to create this team charter together, the project manager with the team together, so the project manager can get the buy-in. And we should not forget about the importance of the team building activities, since these are social interactions, social activities which help the team members know each other, strengthen their relationships. The team building activities can repeat several times, during the project. There should be a lot of interaction, okay, the team building activities, and not some activities which require silence and quiet. Then we talked about different collaboration techniques such as the mobbing, the pairing, the swarming. We talked about also the fishbowl windows for remote team members, and also the importance of creating a transition plan when a team member is changing their role. Okay, then we moved on to section 3.5, which is, I call the motivation theory section. We talked about the emotional intelligence, the importance of understanding like oneself. Like, you understand yourself as a project manager, you have self-awareness, you understand your emotions, you probably take some accurate self-assessment, and you manage yourself, like you control your anger, you try to drive and motivate the team members. And also the importance of having social awareness, social emotional intelligence, like understanding the environment, the culture of the company, the organization where you work, have some empathy skills, try to be an inspirational leader, to work on developing the others, and create a collaborative team. Okay, so that's very important. Then we went through many different theory, motivation theories. We started by understanding Maslow's pyramid of needs, then Herzberg's intrinsic and extrinsic factors, Auchi's theory Z, the expectancy theory, the difference between, having given a reward and the recognition. And also we talked about the zero sum reward and the necessity of avoiding it and how to avoid team turnover. Okay. Then we started one of the most important sections, which is section 3.6, communication conflict management. We went through, first of all, the communication model, like of the sender and the receiver, the noise. We also learned how to calculate the number of communication channels. We also talked about I think 12 or 13 types of communications, like formal communication, informal communication, horizontal communication, vertical communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, oral communication, push communication, pull communication, interactive communication, asynchronous communication, and osmotic communication. Okay. And then, of course, we went through the communication management plan, the importance of having it, building it in a waterfall project, where you as a project manager redefine what are the communications you will have in your project, like meetings or maybe reporting, emails, phone calls, etc. Their frequency, and you need to stay the day and time, when each communication will take place, the method, is it a meeting, is it an online conference, is it a presentation, an email reporting, etc. Who should attend, who's the owner, and we talked about the importance of also stating the backup in case the project manager, for example, cannot conduct such communication because they're on vacation or they're absent, then somebody should, replace them in that communication. And we talked about that, and we had several questions about that. Then we started one of the sorry, and for the communication management plan, we also said that it's very important to send the meeting minutes, as a project manager, no later than 24 hours after the end of the meeting. Then, we started the conflict resolution. We said that conflict is natural, and it's a whole team issue because it can mushroom. Okay, when we try to resolve conflicts, we should, focus on the issue, not bring up the past, no finger pointing, etc. And of course, we went through the 6 conflict resolution techniques, which we have listed from the best one to the worst one. The best conflict resolution technique is to confront, have confrontation, between the two conflicting parties. They try to solve the problems directly. This is a win-win situation through direct communication, okay, by looking into the root cause of the problem. Otherwise, if they can, the two conflicting parties, if they cannot, meet each other or, confront each other, then, the project manager or some team members can interfere, okay, and can intervene, try to collaborate. This is also a win-win situation. Otherwise, the conflicting parties can try to compromise or reconcile, like by giving up on some of their objectives. This is a lose-lose situation, but at least we tend to keep the relationship. Otherwise, there is also a smoothing accommodating, where one of the conflicting parties does not insist, doesn't pay much attention, does not really give much focus on the issue. This is a yield-lose situation. It's a temporary solution. However, forcing, directing, using force, because you have the right to use force, be careful when using it. We don't appreciate it that much in projects. That's a win-lose situation. However, the worst way how to end conflicts, is withdrawal or, leaving. Like this is a quit situation, lose, leave situation. That kind of ends the relationship, and that's not really appreciated by PMI. Okay, then, after that, we had the tips and tricks of chapter 3, the team, and then the 10 test chapters. And then we started chapter 4, which is part of the domain process. Chapter 4 is called adaptive project management. We started with section 4.1, which is the development approaches. We talked about the difference quickly, again, the difference between predictive and adaptive. We talked about the inverted triangle in Agile, which is like inverted compared to the iron triangle of the waterfall, where the scope is flexible, whereas in waterfall the scope is fixed. But cost and schedule in waterfall can change sometimes, but in Agile, schedule or at least the sprints, they're kind of fixed. Then, we talked about the delivery cadence, different delivery cadences, like delivery style of deliverables or of increments. We can have projects with a single delivery at the end, like the waterfall, and later on, like the iterative approach we see it later. We can have a project with multiple deliveries, like within the project, or periodic deliveries, like, with after each fixed amount of time, we can have a delivery. Or, for high performing projects, agile projects, we can have continuous delivery. Then we talked about the types of phases, like the sequential phases, the overlapping phases, the iterative phases. We even talked talked about different development techniques such as the progressive elaboration to go from broad scope to a detailed scope, the rolling wave planning, which is having a detailed plan right now of what to start with, and less details for what will come later. Okay. And then we started section 4.2 about the agile approaches. We went again through Agile Manifesto, and we shared the code in that slide. We talked about the need for Agile, how it appeared, and we talked about the book, the new product development game, which was released in 1986 by Takeshi and Nonaka, these two Japanese famous, Agile. Famous people from the agile world. And then, we described the iterative approach, which has got the purpose of refining the products, where, we start from a broad scope and we try, through experimentation, through, trying to trials to refine the product. We can expect a lot of changes in this approach. We use the empirical process, taking decisions based on observations, depend on the feedback from the users, from the stakeholders, and have a finished product at the end and a delivery at the end. And then also we went through the incremental approach, which is a little different. The purpose of the incremental approach is to have time to market, to speed up the delivery, where we have we know from the beginning what we're building, so the scope is kind of defined, so we will not expect many changes. And usually after each iteration, after each sprint, we will have completed increments. This will allow for early return on investment, and there is also a possibility of delivering what was completed after each iteration. And also we looked at the full agile, which is a mix between incremental and iterative approach. And then this slide here, it really helps project managers know which approach to pick. If you don't expect many changes in your project, and just single delivery at the end, go with predictive. If you will have many changes in your project, but a single delivery, go with the iterative approach, which is from the adaptive project management. If you don't expect many changes in your project, but you need to have frequent deliveries, go with the incremental approach, which is from adaptive project management. And if you expect a lot of changes and there is a need for multiple deliveries or continuous delivery, go with full agile approach. Okay. Then we went through various other content, such as the lean, okay, for continuous improvement, the value stream map, and how to remove the waste. And we went through the total cycle time and the efficiency of the cycle time. And also we looked at the waste of the lean philosophy, such as inventory, waiting, motion, overproduction, defects, overprocessing, transportation. And also we talked about Kanban approach, limiting the work in progress, the pool system, etc. Okay. So this wasn't summary. We tried to pick just the 10 best slides for you, but we went through many slides. Okay. Then here are the top 5 practice questions we picked for you from this session 4. So question 1 is a drag and drop question. Drag the characteristics of the stage on the left to the correct Tuckman ladder stage on the right. So members are reassigned to other projects. Members are interdependent and work effectively. Members argue and are not openly collaborative. Members adjust their work habits with trust, and members are independent and work in silos. Which one is forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning? And as usual, we always tell you, in a drag and drop question, always try to look for a keyword. Like for example here, reassigned, that means adjourning. Here, interdependent. Okay, work effectively, which means performing. Okay, here argue, not collaborative, which is storming. Here trust, there is adjusting with trust, which is norming. And here they're in silos, work in silos, which is the forming stage. Okay, so these were the answers for this question 1. Okay. Question 2, a project team with members from many different countries is struggling to cooperate. The project manager accepted these difficulties during the storming phase of team development, but the team has not moved to the next phase. The project is beginning to fall behind schedule. What can the project manager do to move the team to the norming phase? Plan social activities to help foster stronger interpersonal relationships and identify shared goals, speak with the project sponsor about changing the team composition, figure out who's behind the issues, and apply progressive disciplinary techniques, show the team the schedule impact of their communication issues, and encourage them to put their differences aside. Now, here we have teams from different countries. They're struggling to cooperate, but the team could not move, to the next phase, like could not leave the storming phase. Okay, and this is impacting the schedule. Now, speaking with the sponsor about it, that has got nothing to do with the sponsor. The sponsor will tell you, hey, you're the project leader, you're the project manager, you solve it, okay? Figure out who's making the issues and punish them. That's against PMI's mindset. We don't do that, okay? We don't pick somebody to punish. No, we don't do that. Showing the team the schedule impact and encourage them to put their differences aside, that's not taking any action. That's very passive. The right course of action to take is plan social activities, team building, help them build better relationships, and help them identify their shared goals. That's what you need to do as a project manager, okay? An agile team member receives certification on a new tool. However, this team member is complaining that the rest of the team is not using the tool due to lack of knowledge. How should the servant leader apply emotional intelligence to leverage this situation to the benefit of the project? Request budget to reward the team members so others will be motivated to obtain the same certification. Promote the team member to product owner to leverage the new knowledge with the client. Provide an incentive to team members who begin using the new tool on this project, or ask the team member to use their recently acquired knowledge to develop and provide training to the team. Now, here, a team member, they managed to get their certification, but their colleagues don't do that. So how can you use emotional intelligence to benefit from this situation now? Asking for budget to reward, we said in PMI's mindset, we don't ask for more money and we try to avoid financial rewards. Promoting the team member to a higher role, higher position, no, that we don't do that. Because all the others will start then asking for the same. Don't do that. Providing a financial incentive to the members who begin, applying the tool. Again, that really doesn't fit with PMI's mindset. We try to avoid really financial increase of cost, financial incentives, financial rewards. Let's try to avoid that as much as possible. Rewards should fit with the personal objectives of the team member rather than to be, financial. Also, we don't reward people in private, or just we reward some people, not others. That's zero-sum reward. So the best way how to handle this is, to take advantage of this situation and ask the team member, to provide training to their team. So that's giving this motivated team member more responsibilities, and at the same time make the team members benefit from the situation. Another question. A project manager keeps receiving negative feedback concerning one of the project suppliers. The conflicts between the project team and the suppliers team are getting worse recently and are starting to have a negative impact on the project. What should the project manager do next? Send an email to the suppliers team manager explaining the alarming situation, meet with the suppliers team manager to discuss the issue, call the suppliers team manager and urge them to commit to the procurement agreement, or proceed with alternative dispute resolution ADR, which means it might even go up to taking it to the court. That's the next step of it. ADR. There are several steps in ADR. Last one is to take it to court, or ADR involving an arbitrator, sometimes moderator, etc. Now here we have a conflict with the suppliers team, and the same way we solve conflicts among the team members, the same way we solve conflicts among the stakeholders is the same way we apply the suppliers. We always try to go for a direct communication, try to look into the root cause of the issue. So sending an email doesn't apply that mindset. It's not an application of that mindset. Calling the suppliers team manager and urging them to commit, that's not very effective. Proceeding with ADR, now that probably comes later in case we fail with a direct negotiation, direct communication. So what we need to do is let's try to meet with the suppliers team manager to discuss the issue, look into the root cause of the issue, and try to find a solution. That's much better than proceeding with ADR. Okay. The last question. An organization uses a predictive approach but is open to using some agile practices. The project manager was asked to recommend an agile practice to provide business value throughout the project. What should the project manager recommend? Time box iterations to allow the testing team to thoroughly test the product increments, incremental delivery, and frequent backlog refinement based on user feedback, iterative development and collection of frequent feedback from project team members, frequent retrospectives to ensure that lessons learned and improvement actions are implemented. What's the key word here? The key word is Now, we're using a predictive approach, but we would like to use agile. And that happens a lot in the PMP exam, like, transitioning from predictive to agile. So here we would like to, to have an agile practice which focuses on delivering or providing business value throughout the project, like, with multiple delivery of value. Okay. So time box iterations, allowing tester team to thoroughly test the product. That does not respond to the point about delivering business value constantly or throughout the project. Iterative development and collection of frequent feedback. Again, now there is no mentioning here of frequent delivery of value. Frequent retrospectives to capture the lessons learned and make improvements. Again, that's to improve the way the team works, but that's not about the frequent delivery of value. So the best approach the project manager can recommend here is to use an incremental delivery, like building the product incrementally through the incremental approach, have frequent backlog refinement in order to capture the feedback and make improvements. So here through the frequent delivery, we will have frequent delivery of business value because each increment here represents a business value. Okay, so this was it. As for the summary of the session 4, session 5 is extremely important. In session 5, we will start the Scrum fundamentals or learning about Scrum, all about Scrum. Okay, and this section, just this section 4.3, it covers almost 40 to 50%. Okay, of the entire questions of the PMP exam. We really would like everyone to join this section. This session number 5 on Wednesday, 12th of February at 7 p.m. GMT +1 is quite an important session. Okay, thank you so much. See you on Wednesday.